So I'm back today with my video on Sunday stories. And as the caption goes, the caption or the title of the story is, What About You? So this is a story about a father and a daughter. See, we start with this and then we have 3-4 stories in between. All right. So this is a story about a daughter and a father. This daughter was she used to get very frustrated. There was a lot of negativity and she used to be very upset at small things. And whatever, used to happen, it used to affect her a lot. So she used to get disturbed very quickly, and then, lot of negativity used to be there, and she used to be very frustrated, always remained unhappy. So, father was noticing this every day, that the daughter used to get affected by the outer surroundings very quickly. There are many things, there are people who might tell you something, there are circumstances which may, bring unhappiness, but that should not affect you as much. Yes, we feel bad at things, but that doesn't mean, you spoil your personality, for the time being, you become so upset, you become sad, and this leads to negativity. So why to get affected? So the father, one day he sat with the daughter and very friendly, he wanted to talk to her, to teach her a few things. It is only the parents, they actually know us so very well and notice the changes that come in us. So, the father sat down and very friendly, he said, today I'm here with a, bundle of stories for you. So, daughter becomes very happy and then he starts with the stories. So, the first story that he recites is about Valmiki. We all know Valmiki is a harbinger poet or the author of Sanskrit, and he was the author of our epic story Ramayana. Alright, but before he became a hermit or a sage, before he became a sadhu or a sage, alright, he was a dacoit, a robber. He was a killer. He used to rob people. He used to kill people to rob them. And was earning so very well. He had a beautiful wife and nice children, but the only thing was that he was a dacoit. He used to rob. He used to be there in the jungle, in the forest, and whoever, crossed the forest, he used to rob them, or if it was not, he was not able to do so easily, then he used to kill them. So one day, and in due course, doing all this, he was very rich, very nicely. He was looking after the family, the house, everything was very nice. So, but he was a dacoit. This is not a proper way of earning. And even, Saptarishi, I don't want to go details of, the Ramayana and the Saptarishi and all that. But, the Saptarishi also crossed once and they were robbed by Valmiki, and they felt pity on him. And whenever he used to rob or he used to kill, he used to do it from behind the trees and all, sitting on the tree, he used to throw something and all. So he always used to say Mara, 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 all that. Alright, and then he used to go and rob that person. So he became very rich. But he was still a dacoit. He continued being a robber and a dacoit and a killer. One day, Narad Muni was crossing from there, and suddenly this, Valmiki comes in front of him to rob him, and he was going to hit him by saying Mara. So, Narad Muni stopped him and he said, all right, you do whatever you want to do. I'm here for you. You rob me. I don't have anything. I have this, the orange clothes that I'm wearing. You can take that. I don't have anything. But I want to ask you one thing. Why do you do this? Why do you rob people? Why do you kill people? So he said, this is the way, I am earning so well. My family is, living in a good condition with good standard. I'm able to fulfill all their dreams and whatever they want. So they said, all right. See, these are your sins. Will your sons and your wife be apart? When you are questioned, will they say that yes, they also contributed, even they have their share in this sin of yours, the sin that you are committing? So he says, I don't know. Yes, why not? I'm taking such a lot of care of them, and I kill so many people, I rob so many people. It is only for them. So this Narad Muni said, all right, I'm sitting here. I will not go. You go and ask your wife and children whether they will, if you are called and you are caught, will they say yes, they have a share in your sins? He went home and he asked. But all the children and the wife said no. Yes, you bring all this. You bring money for us. You bring food for us. You take good care of us. Yes, we are there with you. But this is a sin that you are committing. We are not a part of it. We are not doing all this with you. So he becomes very unhappy and says, my God, I'm day and night, I'm robbing people, I'm killing people, and they are not ready. So he goes back to Narad Muni and says, no, they say they will not, be a contributor in this crime and the sin that I commit. So then he said, then why do you do so? And, Narad Muni sits with him, talks with him, tries to mold him. And yes, he was able to change him. He was able to change the way of his thinking. And then he said, see, I want you now to improve yourself. You are a very nice man. You were doing all this for your family. But this was something wrong, and there was someone required to, tell you about this. And I have been sent for this. He said, why have you been sent? So, Narad Muniji said that, see, what you do now is that you sit and start saying, this mantra of Rama, Ram, Ram, Ram. Keep saying like this, and all yours, you will be bereft, of all the sins. So now Valmiki tells him to keep reciting Ram, Ram. So he said, now he started. He says, see, if you keep doing this, all your sins will be washed off. So now Valmiki ji sits and starts, saying this mantra. But he was not able to do so. He kept saying Mara, Mara, because he was, all the time he was in such a habit of saying this. So Narad Muniji said, all right, keep saying this. So he says, Mara, 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 Mara. And then he realizes that he was actually saying Ram, Ram. See? Maram, Mara, Maram, Maram. So then he realizes, all right. And Narad Muniji says, keep saying this and you will be washed off your sins. He sits in the jungle, in the forest under a tree, and he starts reciting this. And for many years he keeps sitting there, and an anthill, the ants start going here and there. Anthills forms on top of him, that is made of that soil and mud. And after many years again, Narad Muniji comes back and says, see, and he breaks off that, anthill that had formed on top of him. And he says, see, now you are washed off and you are a pure person. You are a very nice person. And then, he only tells him to write the epic story of Ramayana. And this is how then he has written so many verses in Puranas and all. So there's that. So this way, Narad Muni was able to bring a change in the way of thinking of this dacoit or Valmiki ji. Isn't it great? Alright, second story for you. This is about King Ashoka. You all have read about King Ashoka in your history books or, at many places, wherever, especially in history books. So, he was a Mauryan king, a very, very great, a very valiant king. So all the kings, what they used to do was to increase their territory, to extend their territories. They used to fight, have battles, and wars, kill people, and then capture that territory into your own. So all the kings used to do this. So Ashoka also, now this Kalinga was a very big place, and so he wanted to fight, and very, very courageously he fought the battle of Kalinga. And then when the celebration time came, he realized that everyone was, that it was a great victory. And when they had to celebrate in the evening, he realized that very less people of his kingdom came to, celebrate. He did not like it, and he said, why is it so? It is such a big victory. So then all his, the main ministers and all his soldiers and all say that many people have died, and everybody is at the battlefield mourning for the people who have died. He goes to the battlefield, he's shocked, said, all right. He goes to the battlefield, and the sight that he sees of the dead people, yes, people of the Kalinga, the enemy team also, and of his army also. And all the people were crying. Somebody had lost their wives, somebody had lost their husbands, some had lost their sons. There were places where the father had died, and there were places where the whole, the whole home, all the members of the family had died. People were mourning, crying. He goes there and he sees the eagles and the vultures, feeding on the dead bodies, and the number of dead bodies that had been killed there really frightened and saddened King Ashoka. He became very upset. He cried a lot. He realized that his victory he did not want this type of victory. And Upagupta was there with him. He was the person who transformed, he came to talk to Ashoka and, talked a lot about Buddhism. And Ashoka transformed himself into a Buddhist person, a follower of Buddhism, where they preach no wars, ahimsa, no killing, no violence. After that, in his own kingdom, he started propagating Buddhism to everybody. So many stupas were built, and on the walls also, the principles of Buddhism were written, and there was hunting was also banned. No one was, allowed to go and hunt animals. They stopped all wars, and he sent his children, hither and thither, and he himself, after that. So then Ashoka, he himself, he stopped everything I told you, and he followed Buddhism till his death. So just see the way he was transformed. All right. He could have done what? He could have felt like the other kings. All the kings used to do all this, but this really affected. This battlefield scene really made him feel very bad. He was very disturbed. Then, next story. This is about a boy who studied in the Taxila University. He was a very intelligent boy. It's an old story. Very intelligent boy. Now, all the children of his university, of his class, they were very, very jealous of him. And one day they all planned and they filled poison. In talking about this boy, they went and filled poison in the ears of the teacher. The teacher became very angry And the teacher said, see, I have come to know all this from the students, and so many students can't tell a lie. So now either you will have to leave my university and go back home, or you bring the small finger, cut and bring small finger of 100 hands, of 1000 hands, of 1000 hands, and then you will be allowed to study in the Texera University. Now the teacher actually wanted him to go back, because this was something very impossible. How would he cut the small finger of 1000 hands and bring? This was something very impossible. So the teacher had kept this purposely. So, but this boy, he was very ambitious. He had promised his parents to get educated and take care of them, do good in life, have a successful future, everything. So he couldn't go back home without getting his required education. He went to the forest, and to collect 1000 fingers of the right hand of people, he started committing crimes. He started killing people. He used to hide in the forest, and whoever used to cross the forest, he used to catch hold of them, kill them. Nobody would readily give the finger, right? He had to kill them to collect those fingers. And since, he had no storage, he had no place where he could keep those fingers. The insects, the birds used to feed on them. So what he started doing was, he took a string, he started putting each and every finger, he started making a garland of it, and he used to keep them wearing on his neck. That is why the villagers, who were very scared of him, started calling him Anguli Mala. Anguli, this is the finger, and Mala is the garland. So, he started doing this, and this way he was able to collect 999 fingers. One was left to make it 1000. And people had stopped crossing that forest. Everybody had come to know that we have this Anguli Mala there who would kill people and cut the finger, and they used to feel that he is a madman, and he was a criminal and was committing such crimes. It was a sin. But only because he wanted to get educated. He got so affected with circumstances that to fulfill, he didn't even come to know that he had killed so many people. Everybody has one right hand. That means 999 people he had killed. So, he became very impulsive, and now he had no patience to wait anymore, and he planned to next go and kill his mother. A mother would readily sacrifice her finger. She would give, yes, cut it. Mothers are known for sacrificing things for the children. But a son would go and get, but that time he had just this, that I have to get this finger. Now Gautam Buddhaji was meditating, and he had attained he had attained enlightenment, and now he used to meditate, and he has those powers. He came to know that this man was next day going to go and cut the finger of the mother, and he felt very bad because he didn't want him to commit such a crime. He did not want Anguli Mala to set an example for the future generation of a bad son. So he went to that forest, and as soon as he was crossing the forest, Anguli Mala came in front of him, and as soon as Anguli Mala saw him, he just stopped. He couldn't cut and kill that man. He couldn't cut his finger. Gautam Buddha had such a peaceful and beautiful face. There was calm about his the whole aura was so peaceful and calm. There was a certain light which it was very heavenly. He had a halo around his head. What is a halo? You must have seen the images of gods and all. They have this golden light all around. all right, which gives a heavenly look. So Gautam Buddha had a similar thing, and he just couldn't act as he did with others. And he stopped. And he said, who are you? I don't know how I have stopped. My fingers, my hands didn't work. And he told, I just want one finger. Gautam Buddha ji said, yes, you can have my finger. I'm here. I'm not running away. Take my finger. But I came to stop you from doing something that you were just going to do something wrong. You were going to cut your mother's finger. Don't do this. Otherwise, future generations, everyone, everywhere, it will be written that sons can do such things. No, you can cut my finger. But come and sit with me and talk to me. Why do you do this? Talk to me. So then, he sits and talks with Gautam Buddha, and for hours at a stretch they sit and talk. And Gautam Buddha talks all about ahimsa, all about the truths that he had come to know about life, all about the ways of life, about people, about how people die, everything, And he made him realize the crime that he had committed, the sins that he was committing for collecting these 1,000 fingers. And, as he was talking to Gautam Buddha, he felt so bad. He realized. And he regretted, he cried a lot. But Gautam Buddha ji was successful in bringing about a change in him. Circumstances had affected him. He had let himself get affected. He could have found out a way. He should have proved that he was not wrong. He should have gone back to his parents and talked to them. But anyways, Gautam Buddha ji was successful in bringing about a change in Angulimala. All these stories, the daughter was very, very lovingly, sitting beside the father and listening. So then the father said, all right, come on, let's go to the kitchen. She said, why? What are we going to do in the kitchen? He said, I just want to show you something. So he, takes her to the kitchen and she tells that, come on, take out 3 bowls of the same type, same size and all. So she quickly takes them out and he says, come on, fill water in all of them. Same quantity of water. She says, Papa, what are we going to cook? Am I going to cook today? So he says, no, I just want to show you something. So, he tells her to put water of the same quantity. Then he puts on the 3 different burners and lights the gas. And then he says, now quickly go and bring potato from the potato basket. She goes and, she picks up the potato and like a ball, she is playing with it. And she brings the potato. Potato is hard. So he puts it into the water and then says, come on, go to the refrigerator and bring 1 egg. But the way you are playing with the ball, don't play with the egg because it might break. It's a soft thing. Sometimes when we are also bringing from the market, they tend to get cracked and they get, we tend to break them. So she very delicately brings the egg and the father puts it in the second bowl. And then he takes out tea leaves and few tea leaves he put in the third bowl. So now they say, let's see the changes take place in all the 3. So now the water starts boiling after 5-7 minutes. They wait for another 2-3 minutes and after 12 minutes, they switch off the gas. And then he says, now let us see what changes have taken place in all the 3 when all the 3 were boiled together and in same quantity of water. He takes out the potato first. The potato had become soft. He was able to peel it and then mash it and he shows that it had become soft. And he says we can make something out of this because it's become soft now. So the daughter was liking this. She was liking the way, the father was doing whatever. So then he takes out the egg and the egg was now a hard thing after boiling. He, on the slab, he cracks it and takes out the shell of it. It was a hard-boiled potato. And then he says, just look at this, the third one, with the tea leaves. So what do you observe? So the daughter looks into the water and she says the color has changed and this is tea. So he says, yes, and just see, can you smell something? Such a good aroma all around. So she says, yes, this is the smell when mama makes tea, the same smell comes. So aroma, aroma, good smell. So he says that just see, when all the three were put under the same circumstances, what changes took place in them. Then the daughter, then she starts realizing, all right, this is to teach me something. So then he says, see, when it was boiled, the potato was boiled, the hard potato became soft, and the egg became hard, which was soft before. But the tea leaves changed the color and there was smell all around. What do you say? Will circumstances be able to make you soft? Soft that you cry and you want to quit? You become sad, cry about it? You want to leave? Or you want to become hard and impulsive and aggressive, thick-skinned? Or you want to change the color according to the circumstances, bring about a change in yourself and spread the new change, the new aroma all around the world. He asked this question to the daughter to make her realize. And I am putting the same question to you. Please write it in the comment section. How do you want yourself to change or to get affected by circumstances? You want to become soft like the potato, hard like the egg, or you want to bring about a new change, new way of thinking, new way of reacting, new ideas, new ideology? Do let me know. Write it in the comment section, not in the live chat, because then that goes on and I want to read it later on and want to see what you all feel like. What do you feel? When circumstances are harsh, just like the boiled water, how will you react? Like the potato, like the egg? Or you want to bring about a change in yourself, not get affected? Bring a change, become your own leader and spread the change everywhere. We'll meet next Sunday. Do take good care of yourself. And yes, please bring about a change. Don't let circumstances affect you. Bye-bye.